Hi, and welcome back to the Success with Savita podcast, where we talk all things mindset, leadership, productivity, and building your dream life and business. I'm your host, Savita, and today's topic is one that can radically transform how you approach your goals, your time, and your life. Today, we are talking about the simple but powerful idea, we're very simple, start with your calendar. I always ask people this question when they come into my coaching program. I ask them, tell me what your day looks like. Tell me what a normal day in your life looks like. And when they share usually people try to share their ideal routine plus about 50 to 70% of how it goes currently. And sometimes when they're doing that exercise, sometimes when they're sharing that with me, they have so many ahas that they are able to look at themselves, look at their own day, and figure out where they are spending too much time just being busy, where they are not utilizing their time well, where they are overwhelmed, where they are taking on too much. It really tells me everything about where they are at in their life. So it's a very important question for me in our discovery call. And it also tells me something else. It tells me about the person's work ethic, right? And it's a really important quality to have for a successful life. Whether you're working, not working, you're a stay at home mom, you're remote working, it really defines your work ethic, defines your level of success, the level of success that you can achieve. So, start with your calendar. That's our topic for today. And often, when we think about productivity or achieving our goals, we focus on to do lists. We think about what we need to get done each day, ticking off tasks, feeling busy. But here's the thing, a to do list without a calendar is just a wish list. And so many of us have these wish lists, right? Long to do lists. We never seem to get through it. It's a wish list of the things that we would like to achieve, but sometimes it's just not realistic enough. If you truly want to make things happen, you need to start with your calendar. And in this episode, I'm going to share why your calendar is your most powerful success tool, how to structure it effectively, common mistakes people make with their calendars, my personal system for using my calendar to create freedom and results, simple steps to implement this starting today. So grab your coffee, notebook, or just settle in for this mindset shift. Part 1, why your calendar is your secret weapon. Let's start with the basics. Your calendar is not just a place to note meetings and deadlines, it's actually a mirror of your priorities. When someone shows me their calendar, I can tell what they value, what their goals are, and where their energy is going. Like I said, it's the most important question in my discovery call. Think about it. If your calendar is filled with everyone else's meetings, errands, and requests, but nothing for yourself, what does that say? If your calendar is blank, hoping that you'll find time to work out, write, think strategically, or spend time with loved ones, guess what? It's unlikely to happen. The biggest difference between people who achieve their goals and those who don't is that achievers schedule their goals, they protect time for what matters. I love how one of my mentors once said, show me your calendar and I'll show you your future. Actually, she also said, tell me what your day looks like and I'll tell you how successful you're going to be. Part 2, common mistakes people make with their calendar. Let's dive into some mistakes that I see. Not calendaring at all. Relying on memory or scribbled to do list leads to overwhelm and missed priorities. I see my dad do this and I keep telling him, he's at an age, he's 87, and keep saying, oh, I forgot, and my forgetfulness. I'm like, just start writing things down. But it's not a habit he's built. He can't write it down. He relies on his memory still. And then there are so many gaps. 2, only putting in meetings. Your calendar is not just for calls and appointments, it's for you. Block time for thinking, strategy, exercise, learning, and deep work. Like everything that needs to go. I have my child's routine and schedules and classes also into my calendar so I don't miss it. There have been times that I've missed or forgotten about a class that she had to take because it wasn't on my calendar, because now I cannot live without my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, it just doesn't happen. 3, overbooking with no buffer. Been there, done that. Back-to-back calls with no breathing space lead to exhaustion and sometimes calls run over. Always create a buffer for transitions and unexpected needs. 4, ignoring energy rhythms. Scheduling deep work when your energy is low or social calls when you're drained reduces your productivity and joy. I mean, it's just overwhelming. 5. Using it reactively, not proactively. If you fill your calendar based on what others demand instead of designing your week intentionally, you lose control of your time. So now let's get into part 3, which is how to structure your calendar for success. Now, these are like common things that I've seen, but there's so many more, and you will be able to identify as you run through your day, as you run through your week, how you spent the week. You start to review it. It's not going to take you a lot of time. A couple of weeks of doing this, a few days of doing this, you are going to be able to understand where your time is going and course correct. As long as you are conscious about it, like you want to make this change, you want to get hold of your time, and you want to make sure that you're designing your life, your weeks, your months really well. Okay, so part 3 is how to structure your calendar for success. Here's my simple but powerful approach. Step 1, weekly planning ritual. Every Sunday afternoon is something that I like to do. Sometimes I do this on a Saturday. I prefer not to do it on a Monday morning, but look, whatever time works for you. So every Sunday or Monday morning, you can sit down for 20 to 30 minutes to plan your week. And this is how I start. I start by asking, what are my top 3 priorities for the week? What actions move me towards my monthly goals? Provided that I'm very clear about what my monthly goals are, and those monthly goals are tied into my quarterly and annual goals. What personal commitments do I need to honor? Where do I need rest, fun? What events do I need to get to? What do I need to keep in mind while I'm planning? There are birthday parties that my child needs to go to, classes that she needs to take, things that are there also on her social calendar, where us parents are, coordinating schedules and pick up and drop and all of that. So that's the first thing, right? To take stock of this and ask yourself what all is coming up for the week. Step 2, time block non-negotiables first, right? This includes workouts, your sleep time, your rest time, your routines, deep work blocks for projects, content, client delivery. Upcoming deadlines are there, and you need to block out time for deep work to work on these things. Personal time, family dinners, maybe it's that movie that you want to catch, maybe it's that evening already planned with friends, those kind of things. And hobbies, if any. Like I'm planning to do mahjong classes. I also like to take tennis classes. So I have to really schedule this in. And sometimes I want to do it all. It's all fun, but there just isn't enough time. And I've really got to pick and choose and prioritize. And therefore, sometimes I say, okay, this quarter I'm going to be doing these things. So that's what you do first. Block out time for all of this. Step 3, add meetings and calls around these blocks. Of course, where you are deciding the meetings, you are deciding the calls. Instead of filling your calendar with calls first and then squeezing your life into the cracks, reverse it. Life and goals come first, calls and admin go around them. There may be times when this is unavoidable, especially when someone else is scheduling a call. You've got to see what works best for you. As much as you can control it, it's great. If it's not in your control, if you're in the workplace, your boss or somebody scheduling it, it may be a little bit more tricky. Step 4, include buffer zones. I usually leave 15 to 30 minutes between meetings to stretch, reset, or catch up on quick tasks. It prevents fatigue and running late. This can happen sometimes when I'm on a coaching call and then clients are talking. We can run over quite easily. It can become a really long extended call, and then, I'm eating into the next client's time. Step 5, review and adjust daily. Each morning, check your calendar. Ask, is this realistic? What can I delegate or reschedule? What deserves my full focus today? And this can be changing. The fact is that it's okay to change. It's not like it's written, it's not supposed to be rigid. It's okay to change. But and you are the master of what you're changing. And you're changing things, keeping in mind that there are things that you've got to complete. There are some focus areas. Once you get the hang of it, right, you'll become a pro at really knowing what to reschedule, what to keep on the calendar, things like that. You'll get better at it. You've got to start somewhere though. So let's get to part 4, my personal calendar system. Let me share what my calendar typically looks like. Morning routine is usually between 6 and 7:30. I'm up, getting my daughter ready for school. She's off, then I get changed, then I head out to a workout class or to my regular gym. I also try to do a bit of journaling during this time, do my breathing exercise, really slowly ease into the morning. There are days when I just can't, like this past week. The past 1 month has been really hard with my mom being in hospital. So we've been spending a lot of time in hospital and I have been exhausted. So sometimes I've really got to see where I can conserve my energy and where I need most amount of energy. Then I come back and start my day around 9:30, 10. I'm ready for work. I sit at my desk. This is when I actually do, if I've not done my journaling in the morning, I do my journaling here at my desk. I listen to a 10-minute guided meditation, and then ease into my calls for the day. There's then after I finish my calls, usually I like to finish my calls the first half, and then post 12:30 I like to sit down. If I don't have calls, either it's going to be marketing meetings. There are days when I'm doing marketing and discussing what needs to happen, or I'm doing some deep work. And during this block, I try to avoid no calls, no distractions, and in between, I do try to grab lunch. But during the deep work block, there's writing, there's strategy, there's content creation. Very important. I write my newsletters, I create these podcasts, I write out the content for these podcasts, all of that, right? And work on key business projects. Meetings do happen, but not as often. I try to block it all into batch it into one particular day of the week so it gets easier. Coaching sessions are also only on 2 or 3 days of the week, so it's not overbooked. Otherwise, it tends to get draining because I'm talking, I'm thinking, I'm working, I'm doing all of that. Then there's time for some research, which I do for my clients, make some plans. I try to avoid calls in the early morning or late evening unless absolutely needed. In between my day, I now learn to, because I don't get enough steps in, I get up and I walk around, I go up and down. I live on the second floor, so I go down, walk in the driveway, come back up. So it gives me a few steps in between. And then usually between 3:30 to 5 is when I do admin, light work, emails, follow-ups, planning, general life planning, scheduling, all kinds of things like that. And then my evening routine, my evening post 4 or 5 is with driving my kid to classes, sorting out her schedule, figuring out what she needs to do. I don't sit with her for homework. I just make sure that it gets done. I want her to be an independent worker, so I don't like to sit with her during homework, but I like to make sure that it gets done. And then usually by 7:30 is when I tend to wind down, relax, catch up on some reading, or I also around 6 in the evening, or post my evening tea at 5:30. If I'm home, if I'm not doing some driving activities or waiting. I run errands while I'm waiting outside my kids' various classes that she goes to after school activities. But I get my errands done, I get my grocery shopping done, I do all of that. But post 6 o'clock, we're usually back from these classes, and that's when I like to spend a little time in my terrace garden. I like to water it myself, I like to see how my plants are growing. And then usually post 7:30 is when I sit down, we relax, we catch up. I catch up with my husband, and bedtime is usually by 9:30. Post 9:30 is bedtime. We finish dinner. I put my kid to bed. I mean, she puts herself to bed, but yeah, you know what I mean. And usually we have an early night. We don't really like late nights unless I've stepped out to dinner with friends or we've gone out to dinner. But even when we go out to dinner, we are back and we are usually in bed by 10:30, 11 latest. I don't like to have really late nights, especially during the weekdays, because it impacts my work, my schedule for the next day. All of this, of course, varies with seasons, launches, travel, or family needs, but this structure protects my energy, my productivity, and my balance in life as to how work goes and what happens. There's one day in the week when I do my international calls happen during this time. My international clients happen this time. So that's one day in the late evening when I'm working post 7 o'clock. Actually, between 7 to 10, I am working, but that's one day in a week, and sometimes it's one day in a week bi-weekly because that's when our calls happen, and it's all good. Now, I like this kind of schedule, and may look different for different people, right? But I really like to keep social events down to a bare minimum, and I don't like to have anything on weekdays. But post like Friday evenings till Sunday early evening is kind of okay, and that's also family time and friends time and all of that. Now let's go to part 5, the mindset shift. It's not about rigidity. You might think, Savita, I don't want to live tied to a calendar, but here's what I've learned: structure creates freedom. When your calendar is clear, you no longer carry mental clutter wondering what to do next. You stop reacting to life and start leading it. You become more present because you know everything has a place. And if life throws you a curveball, you adjust. Flexibility is important, but you flex within a structure rather than chaos. Part 6, Action Steps for You. Here's how you can implement this starting today. 1. Decide your weekly planning ritual time. Put it in your calendar right now. Like, that's your planning time to plan your calendar. Yeah, you need it in your calendar anyway. I know it sounds confusing, but it's a habit that you got to get into. It's a ritual that you get into. 2. List your top 3 priorities for the week. Block time for them immediately. 3. Review your calendar for the next 7 days. Ask, does this reflect my goals and values? If not, change it. 4. Commit to calendaring for 2 weeks. Give yourself a real chance to feel the difference. Notice your energy, stress levels, and productivity. 5. Communicate your calendar boundaries. Let your team or your family know when you're available and when you're in focus mode. And also use this calendar to plan your social activities and catch up time and phone calls and the works. In closing this episode, I want you to remember time is the one resource we can't get back, right? That's a universal truth. Money, opportunities, even relationships, we can rebuild them. What you earn, what you spend, you can earn back again. But time, once it's gone, it's gone. At this moment in your life, today, right now, it's never coming back. So using your calendar intentionally is an act of self-respect. It is an act of self-love. It's an act of self-care. It's how you honor your dreams, your health, and the people you love. So this week, I challenge you, start with your calendar. And let's see how it goes. Let me know what you think. With that, I want to thank you for tuning into the Success with Savita podcast. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend who could use this reminder. Screenshot it, tag me on Instagram, and let me know your biggest takeaway today. Until next time, go out there and design your days with purpose and intention.